one statement, हम लोग उधर डैमेज देने नहीं जा रहे, हम लोग उधर जीतने जा रहे हैं.
From ascent to attention.
Orangutan, the champions of VCL SA. A team that personified domination, stomped every competition, and overcame doubters to become the face of South Asian Valorant. But how did this happen? Behind all of this success, there's 6 lads working countless hours and one phone call that changed everything. This is Orangutan's road to ascension. The year is 2022. Esports breathes life again after lockdown. Fans are flocking to the venues, viewership numbers are hitting new peaks as Valorant finally emerged as South Asia's next big game. Global Esports and Velocity Gaming were constantly battling to be the king of the throne. However, there was one team that was just starting out, aiming for an impossible future. With their first roster, intentions were clear. Disruption. For the first time, there were imports in the scene, Tesseract and Persia, who joined forces with a young South Asian core of Ghost, Vibor and Shooter. Fair to say, this team looked very strong on paper. Orangutan quickly climbed the ladder to become one of the top 4 teams in the region, but they were still getting beaten by the likes of Global Esports, Velocity Gaming and Enigma Gaming. As cracked as they looked initially, this team could never live up to its potential. And thus, they disbanded. But life does present you with opportunities, probably when you least expect them. And amidst all these dark clouds, there was a silver lining, an apparition, and that phone call. On the horizon, a new lineup was emerging. The man on the other side was none other than Antidote, and he was ready with his troops. What he said on that phone call is forever gonna be history, but right now it was time for the big reveal. The roster was star-studded, but this time it was tried and tested. Antidote at the helm, calm, composed and brimming with experience, RVK alongside him formed a formidable anchor for the team. And then there were the shooters, Rawfuel and Tesseract. Rawfuel was fresh from a successful season, winning several championships and multiple MVP titles, while Tesseract was back home and we all knew what he was capable of. But wait, that's just 4. Who's the 5th again? Speculation started amongst the Twitter community, naming us probably as strong, if not stronger, than Velocity Gaming, who had just acquired ex-Fnatic player Doma and ex-100 Thieves player Eccles. Enigma announcing their exit from the South Asian scene and Global Esports finding their place in the franchise league meant Velocity was our biggest rival in Split 1. Yes, Valorant Challengers League South Asia Split 1. OG and VLT got seeded in different groups, and it was expected that they are gonna dominate the group stages. And so did they, at least in the case of Velocity, who had 2-0'd all the teams in the league. However, it wasn't that smooth of a ride for OG. Just before the tournament began, RVK suffered from an ear infection, which means he couldn't play for a foreseeable future. It was a major setback. All the practice, comps, and synergy had just turned null and void. On top of that, they had to find a substitute who could fill RVK's big shoes. And oh boy, they did find one. He fit into the team like the final piece of the jigsaw.
And Levi finally kills him.
And performed right at the get-go. Aziz was firing on all cylinders. With stats like these, as Orangutan steamed past Lethal with scores of 13-1 and 13-4. But things got a little sketchy from there on.
Of course, we want to dominate, but every match cannot be a whitewash or something. Sometimes some hiccups, some slippery movements will come, and you have to carry forward and you have to come back strong. That is how you become a champion team.
Against Medal and Reckoning 2, we dropped maps but the strong mentality of the team helped us get through, led by one man.
My name is Madan Raj Muniswaran, like that?
Playoffs were about to start, but people already had a certain grand finals in mind. But was it going to be a reality though? But on the contrary, RVK was back in the playing five and Orangutan were peaking. They demolished Reckoning and True Rippers 2-0 as Rawfuel and Aziz ran havoc on the servers. True Rippers tried to oppose us a little, at least outside the servers. Inside, not so much. In came the grand finals, and we were facing a team that not only had a great run in the lower brackets, but also a familiar face. God's Reign. An 8-4 half for God's Reign, but one man turned it all around. A 30 bomb for Tesseract as OG closed out Icebox 13-10. The second game,
Down but before will finally be shut down. OG put up a giga banger of a map.
and of course, who can forget the iconic moment on the map of Split? Orangutan lifted the Split 1 trophy without dropping a single map after the playoffs had started, and Antidote was en route to fulfill his promise, the words that he said on that phone call. But social media wasn't convinced with this victory. Meanwhile, Revenant, who were absent from Split 1, made a comeback with a video like this. Thus, Split 2 started, with every team eyeing for that one slot to Ascension, and Orangutan was the team to beat this time. Well, let's be real, it wasn't happening. Both Reckoning and MLT fell face first against us. But now, it was time for some big games. All the hype, all the talk, all the speculations since Split 1 finally found its closure as Orangutan finally met Velocity Gaming in the server. It was supposedly the biggest match in the VCL. However, turned out to be one of the easiest best of threes that we played. So was the Revenant game. I mean, we were down 8-4 in the first half, but our coach was unfazed. Thanks to Aziz absolutely pocketing them with a score of 36 and 18, OG closed out Bind 13-11 and the series 2-0 yet again. Orangutan bulldozed through the upper brackets into the grand finals and were waiting to find out who they face in the grand finals. Their opponent wasn't Velocity, it wasn't Revenant, and it wasn't God's Reign either. It was someone who had beaten all these teams in the past and had turned out to be the dark horse from the lower bracket.
3 महीने पहले पूछा गया था एक सवाल, कौन रिप्रेजेंट करेगा साउथ एशिया को इन असेंशन, और आज उस सवाल का जवाब हम सबको मिल जाएगा.
Now, we had beaten Reckoning 3 times in the last 2 splits already. This was going to be our 4th encounter. They weren't a new opponent for us, but everybody knew that this time something was different. And nobody expected what was going to happen. Orangutan lost the first map of the best of 5. Things were shaky. Key players from the team had just managed to get single-digit kills. OG had never trailed in any series that they played so far, and it was certain that something was wrong. But one value Orangutan has always infused in its teams is that a team that knows how to lose and come back stronger is a winning team. The same mentality was shared by our Valor boys. And for sure, comeback was strong. In spite of a 4-8 half, everyone picked up their game to leaven the series 1-1 on Fracture, and Antidote led them from the front. But then came another setback, Split. In short, it meant OG had to win the remaining maps to win the series and go to Ascension. And with their backs against the wall, we saw the true fighting instincts of the ape. 13-6 on bind, and the scores were level, 2-2. Ascent was the fifth and the final map. For the first time in the VCL, Orangutan were not the clear favorites. But true champions thrive under pressure, and so did these boys. Antidote was just one step away from fulfilling his prophecy, the promise that he made on that call, to deliver Orangutan's first Champions Trophy if he joined the team. Victory is sweet when one works hard for it. For this team, this was the perfect validation of the months of hard work and their commitment to this game. But the joy didn't last long. Ascension, to say the least, was a humbling experience. But at Orangutan, we either win or learn, and this time it was the latter. All that this tournament meant for us is that next season we come back stronger.